here as head judge with the Best of Rwanda. My coffee career began over 40 years ago. I was just a young person who loved to brew delicious coffee and share it. And I can honestly say that after a long career of owning and operating my own cafe, I helped launch Starbucks, I was head judge with Cup of Excellence for over 14 years, working in multiple countries. I consult all over the world, but it's really all about coffee and all about people. So it's great for me to be here and continue on with this journey of recognizing excellent coffee. I returned for the Best of Rwanda in 2024. Well, it's been 10 years since I've been here. First originally with the Cup of Excellence program multiple times, and returning now after an absence of a national coffee competition, knowing the quality that is here and the people and my commitment to this country. It was really a joy and honor to be invited back and to help lead this program. We are really a team, but I was very excited to return and see the latest qualities, taste the qualities, and help with the country. The uniqueness about Rwanda coffee is its transparency and clarity and just really refined acidity. It's quite different than other African coffees and also other coffees from Latin America or even Indonesia. So it's very unique. The best qualities have mandarin orange notes, lime, citric acidity, again, very refined, and the best quality Rwanda can stand up against the best quality of any coffee producing country. Okay, I don't have a crystal ball to predict the future, but I can tell you that the future is very bright for coffee. People are appreciating it as more and more people get experience with specialty coffee. Their income level maybe changes. They can go into a cafe and really enjoy it and enjoy themselves. The future, I think, for Rwanda coffee is very bright, and I will say that the quality is going to be what's sustainable in helping people both in the external market, which is the global market, and also the internal market appreciate these coffees. So I really do think the future is bright. I was here 10 years ago working with the cuppers that are of the national jury right now, and I'm really delighted because they're what I'd say proof is in the cup. Because they were here back 10 years ago, they were committed to coffee, but they were working not necessarily every day, not necessarily regular jobs in the cooperatives or with NIAB, and to see them all again, 10 years later, still passionate, great set of skills, and really they are the future. They're producing that, of course, along with the farmers and the cooperatives. It all starts with the quality of the coffee, you know, the health of the soil, the health of the plant, the health of the village and the cooperative. It begins there, and it has to follow through every step along the way. Being successful in the competition depends on the quality of the entries that's submitted. We had over 297 entries submitted, which is fabulous, and then it's narrowed down by the stages there. You know, there's different trends. I mean, you know, people talk about like first wave, second wave, third wave. I don't really prescribe to that because I think it's a continuum. It's a continuum for each individual where they're at in their journey of specialty coffee, whether the producer or farmer or the roaster or the end consumer. But I think that the trend is going to be that people are appreciating more and more quality. Ideally, they're going to be paying more for that quality to recognize excellence and to appreciate it. And I think that Rwanda, again, can compete with any of these. The best coffees of Rwanda can compete with the best coffees of other producing nations. Well, my role here as head judge is to ensure that all the protocol is met for evaluating these samples fairly and coded, so we don't know which washing station they're from, which region, any of the producers' names, anything like that. So initially, samples are submitted, they are recorded and assigned a code. That code, then we have small amount of samples that are brought to roasting and cupping, a different code. We have an independent auditing firm, which is assigning all of these codes. We have the support of NIAB, of course, overseeing their project. We have the support of JICA that is also coordinating these things. But the coffees are brought in coded. They're coded again when they come to the roasting area. All right, so even the people that are setting up the tables and weighing the beans out individually, they don't know where these coffees are from. Okay, so they're roasted, they're put on the table, 1 through 10. Each cup, each individual sample is, again, only by code and only by placement on the table, 1 through 10. So we as cuppers, when we go to evaluate these coffees, we're looking at various aspects of the coffee. Clean, sweet. Clean is how that coffee has transparency. Sweet represents the actual sugar that's in the mucilage of the bean itself. We're evaluating just body, flavor, acidity, finish, overall impression. All of those characteristics are evaluated by our jury of 12 people, 11 people, I think. And we have each individual cup is weighed out as beans. They're using spoons so that even their fingers don't touch the beans. I mean, that's just an example of one of the fine, fine details. Water is brought to a boil at a very specific temperature. I've worked with the guys actually pouring the water into the cups so that it's poured exactly. I mean, it's really quite a procedure because we want to ensure, my job as head judge is to help the cuppers and help everyone ensure that the protocol is exactly met for the coffees, so that if a coffee scores amazing, it scores ordinary, or just very good, it's not because of the cupper or the people grinding or setting the table. It really is a representation of that individual lot, okay? There will be 3 rounds. We have a pre-selection round where the highest scoring coffees will go to the national round. That's coming up next. The highest scoring coffees from the national round go to the international. With the international round, we have 2 phases. They will cup up 30 to 40 coffees. And again, evaluate. The coffees are roasted again, weighed again, set on the table, new codes, cupped again, and discussed. And then those highest coffees go to the top 20, then the top 10. Each time the coffees are roasted independently and coded so that there's no way you can, really, even if you could cup very specific, there's no way you know where it comes from. Auditors know. That's what we need to have. Then those highest scoring coffees will go to an online auction, September 12th, and people register for that auction. They can also register for samples. So we have, I think, 6 different countries represented on the international jury. Some of them have never been to Rwanda before. So they will be our ambassadors. And the money that's brought in from the auction will go back to the washing stations and divided among the farmers that are on that individual lot. It's a long answer, but it's a long process, and it absolutely is worth every single quality step along the way. Well, some of the best coffees have really, like I say, translucent or bright acidity that's very refined. You get lime, citrus notes, mandarin orange. Of course, there's different processes now. Before, when I was here, I believe it was all just fully washed coffees, which can be absolutely delicious all by themselves, right? But now there's new things happening, new trends in the market that might be anaerobic coffees, honey coffees, naturals. So it's really a more diverse table than it has been in the past, and some equally delicious or more delicious coffees that we're trying. So, all good. Well, it's my job. We have a big team here that, again, we have an assistant head judge by the name of Grace. She's great. The staff is very, very good. We're watching all of those details along the way because, again, it's our duty to ensure that that coffee, that individual sample, is best represented by itself. And it has to be. If the cups aren't weighed right, they weigh again. If it's not roasted correctly with that profile, it's roasted again. I mean, we work very hard to ensure that because the coffee that's exported in the competition, that's going to be the first or maybe the last cup of that person, the buyer's opportunity for Rwanda. So it has to be the best. The most common attributes that I look for, first and foremost, and I've said it a couple of times already, is clean and sweet. That's directly related to how the coffee is processed, how it's harvested, where it's grown, the elevation. And that's the first thing. After that, the other attributes that come along might be the acidity, the body, is it a silky body, velvet body, lush? What are the flavor notes of it? Is it caramel? Is it sugar cane? Is it mandarin orange? Different things. And how do they complement one another? I mean, a really perfect, amazing coffee is going to have that, I'd say, like a triangle between body, flavor, and acidity, and they have to be balanced. They have to support one another, complement one another, and not compete. So, and again, with different processes, you might have different flavor notes coming through or different characteristics. But I tell cuppers, if it starts with clean and sweet, the rest of that coffee will explain itself to you. You have to have an open mind. You can't go to the table and go, oh, I only like naturals. Oh, I only prefer fully washed coffees. You just have to have an open mind and taste what's there and let that coffee express itself to you. The impact that this competition has, again, this is a NIAB project, launched NIAB, and in several countries, more and more countries are doing independent competitions as well. I think first and foremost that it represents an opportunity for the local producers, for the farmers, for the co-ops to show their best. Competition is good. Competition motivates people, right? Certainly it's got to be the money at the end to get to reward that farm or that cooperative or washing station. But it motivates internally in the country. You've got some very talented cuppers here looking to, increase that pool and get that skill set going, because that's going to have an impact on the local market. They can identify these things. Going to the international market, it helps. You can identify the best coffees, but if you're not able to sell them, then it's not really motivating, right? So the Best of Rwanda is going to be presenting a whole program and this auction, on-site auction, which will be, again, professionally managed, where people from around the world can, one, buy samples to experience it or get on and register for the auction itself. I think the impact is going to be pretty powerful. I'm hoping that that's going to be the case. And again, we need to put Rwanda as a viable option for amazing coffees. Some already buyers know about it. They know about the regions and things, but we have to grow the market, and we have to bring in that motivation that these coffees can compete on a global level. I think this is an amazing opportunity for Rwanda, for NIAB, for international cuppers, and for everybody here in the country too, because that people look at, or countries that produce coffee look at two markets. They look at the export market, global international market. They also look at the local market. And what I see is both of them growing. Certainly in the past that I've been here, again, it was 10 years ago, but the amount of cafes and skilled baristas and Rwandan people celebrating their own coffee is big. It's really huge. And I think that, all areas are going to be positively affected from this competition and the longevity of it too. So, I know there's like a 5-year plan, and I applaud NIAB for, doing this, and JICA and the other supporters too.
Yeah, as we are approaching the end, what is your advice to coffee producers, processors, and even exporters here in Rwanda?
All right, my advice for the producers, the cooperatives, and the exporters is really look for supporting the education on the processing and the education about what the global market is looking for, and to really produce amazing coffee and get it into the right hands. It doesn't mean that every single coffee of Rwanda has to be Best of Rwanda. There's going to be markets for those other just very, very good coffees as well. In the pre-selection stage, we had very, very few coffees that weren't, 85 or 86s. So I mean, there's a market for all of that stuff. So I think exporters, reaching different pockets of the market and profiling it, who's going to be best for that, is going to be a good opportunity. Participating in trade shows where you make good connections and can put a face to that coffee is going to be important. The places that I visited, I mean, they were really in tune with nature and with how they were processing, and that the plants weren't crowded. They were spaced appropriately. The elevation was great. It's a little post-harvest at this point, so there wasn't really actual picking going on, but I mean, the way they're drying the coffees, on elevated tables, and they really seem very, very concerned about the product itself and the people working in these areas, and that's what I appreciated the most, because it really seemed very harmonious. Additional points for the Rwandan coffee industry is keep up amazing work, learn what you can, cup what you can, keep producing it and getting it to the marketplace, because people don't necessarily know, buyers in the global market not all of them know about Rwanda coffee. So I think your coffee consumption overall is increasing, right? Specialty coffee. And I think the more people understand that Rwanda is a viable place to get some pretty amazing coffees, and they can be, specific regions, specific co-op. I mean, you might have up to 40 farmers on one individual day lot going into the competition, but I think the more that Rwanda is in the minds and on the tongues of people, they're going to appreciate these coffee. And it presents an opportunity for them too, not just for the farmers or the co-ops or the washing station or exporters. It really presents an opportunity for buyers to try something new, to bring something in that's a different taste experience, There's other coffees in Africa, perhaps, that are more well known, but I think Rwanda offers something very different. So those can be amazing too, but I think Rwanda really is in a unique position to, let's say, re-enter the global market and get the presence known, especially through this Best of Rwanda program.